Hey everybody, we're Rhett here. We're from TorchPrep. We're on question number 44 on test number 4 out of the red book, the math test. So go ahead right now. You're going to pause the video and you're going to find question 44 from math test number 4. All right, so you're on question number 44. Let's take a look. This is kind of a geometry meets trigonometry question. And so we're going to look at it in as simple a way as possible. And basically in this situation, if you've never studied trig, this is probably a question you're going to skip or take as best a guess as you can by just kind of visualizing it. But if you have taken trig, this is a pretty simple right triangle trig, bada bing, bada boom kind of question. All right. So at the end of the day, when we're looking at this, ultimately we're trying to find the tangent of angle A. Now, the problem is we don't know anything about angle A right away. But with a little investigation, you're actually going to see we do know more than it looks like we know. So let's start looking at the image, right? And I would always suggest writing this out and drawing a picture. Let's look at this and start to see what more information do we know that might help us find this trigonometric ratio right here. All right. One thing I see is we know they're told that angle C is a right angle. Now, if that's the case, and I make this a triangle, we immediately know that this triangle BCD is a right triangle. Then, because we know our Pythagorean triples, right? If you don't, go study them. But one of our Pythagorean triple combinations is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Now you could use Pythagorean theorem to find that, but we have shortcuts with Pythagorean triples. So this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Now you might say, well, why does that help me? Well, because now we know a little bit more information about this triangle. This triangle now we know must be a right triangle as well because, and we know this actually must be a right angle because if this is 5, we know another Pythagorean triple is actually a 5, 12, 13. The longest side is always the hypotenuse, so that means that this is a leg and this is a leg. The hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle, which means we know that this is a right triangle, and we can then use our wonderful knowledge of trig with SOHCAHTOA and determine what the tangent of any of these of angle A is, and that comes right here. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Sorry, almost made the mistake myself. So opposite over adjacent. So tangent of A, this angle, is simply taking the opposite side from that angle, which is 5, over the adjacent side, which is 12. Now you might say, well, why isn't 13 the adjacent side? It's touching angle A. Remember, this is basic right triangle trig. The 13 is the hypotenuse, and it's always the hypotenuse. So whenever you're talking legs for adjacent or opposite, it's not going to ever be the longest side of the triangle. So this is 12 as the adjacent side. So the tangent of A is 5 over 12, which, let's look at the answer choices. Let's see if that worked. Looks like G is your answer.